Hey everyone, welcome to ComSpark. Today we are in Columbus, Ohio. My name is Neal and I'm on the Executive Host Committee for ComSpark, and I will be your guest host today. Today we are here with Mike Hofherr. He is the Vice President and Chief Information Officer for The Ohio State University. Mike, thanks for being with us today.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so before we get into some of the questions that we had prepared for you, I thought maybe you could just share a little bit of information with us about what are some of the challenges and or opportunities within the university space right now from an IT perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a interesting arena to be in higher education and an interesting vertical, I think, to operate in. And, we always have a lot of opportunities, a lot of challenges in that space just because of our sheer size. And I think that's the first one I'd hit on, right? So, last week was our first week of classes. We have over 50,000 students on our Columbus campus. 20,000 of those students live in residence halls that we, manage and provide accommodations for, and they expect an experience like their home. And that's the connectivity that they have at home. That's the, ability to get something to eat, walk down the hall, see their friends, whatever. So, the scale, right, is always a challenge. The many acres we have of campus and buildings and making sure people are connected. And I think the other big challenge is just the vastness of what we do. We have a football team. We have $1 billion of research. We have, multiple colleges and units that are teaching students, discovering new knowledge, right? And making sure that all of those needs are met through a technology portfolio that's efficient, that's modern, that's scalable is always our biggest challenge. I think our biggest opportunity is that one, I have the privilege to work at somewhere that creates new knowledge, right? And that's exciting, right? That's fun. And I have access to those 50,000 students that are full of new ideas. And one of the things I challenge my team a lot with is, I firmly believe if you don't have someone that's 25 years or younger on your management team or your executive team, you're missing out on radical shifts in thinking.
Yeah.
And if you need any of those people, come talk to me, because I have access to a lot of them, and they want to talk and they want to share their ideas. But really having the ability to go out and talk to those students and understand what they think the workplace of the future looks like, they think what education in the future looks like, is exciting.
That's very exciting. So what role do you see technology playing in the workforce in the next 10 years? And are those roles of technology, do you see maybe more user and builder becoming more intertwined?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting place where we're at. And I also, talk a lot about, sit down, close your eyes. In 10 years from now, do you see us having more or less technology? And I think most people close their eyes and open their eyes and say more, right? Yeah. And we can have long conversations if that's good or bad, right? But the reality is it's here. And I think the role that technology plays in that workforce is becoming more prevalent, and not just technology for technology's sake, like I'm proficient in Microsoft Office, right? Sure. But actually technology to solve problems. And so I think that's the big gap that we're trying to address right now. So how do you use a traditional humanities-based education to marry that with, a strong foundation in coding, programming, app development, so that when you go out into the field of your choosing, whether that's engineering, whether that's, biomedics, whether that's, teaching, you could take that skill set and solve problems in a new and engaging way.
Exactly. Do you find that the rise in cyber attacks is creating a lot more dialogue within the team and within the students themselves who might be pursuing that as a career?
Yeah, I think from a cyber attack perspective, people are aware, right? It's becoming part of the lexicon we use every day. These, Cambridge Analytics and what happened at Facebook. People are talking about this in a way they're understanding what their data means to them now. I think there are generational gaps, though, in terms of what someone maybe like me thinks we should do and what data needs to be protected, and maybe what an 18-year-old thinks what data should be protected. And we need to start to build our systems to meet those expectations. And what I hear a lot of times from students is more willingness if they know that data is being used for the right purposes, and to share that data, right? Where I think an older generation is more protective of that data. And I just think it's the world they live in, right? Absolutely. It's not technology to them, it's just the ecosystem that they've been brought up to accept, right? Yeah.
Very different mentalities there.
No, it really is. Yeah.
So how do you think technology will change the higher education landscape for future students? And as CIO, what role do you play in championing technology, career readiness resources for the students?
Yeah, one of the, I think it's prevalent, right? I think it touches everything that we do. And I think one of the things we're doing at Ohio State to address that is an initiative that we're calling Digital Flagship. Mm-hmm. And so while part of this initiative is device initiative where every student receives a piece of technology, the second part of that initiative is every student having access to coding curriculum so that when they leave the university, they could have certification duly branded from Apple and Ohio State that says I'm competent in this skill set. And then the third part is using that in this burgeoning app economy to build and solve new problems, right? And the problems they're going to solve are the ones that directly impact them. So they're going to focus first on, what's this new skill set I have around app development or coding or programming to help, one, make my educational experience better, and then two, how do I take that and translate it into the workforce?
That's exciting. Having a son in college, I like to hear that kind of discussion.
Well, I think it's filling a whole bunch of workforce needs that we have as well, right? And so you look around the country, we have these big gaps in app development, we have these big gaps in coding. If I could have 5,000 people, which is only 10% of my undergraduate population, come out with a coding certificate, we're really making a dent in that.
Absolutely. So what are the key leadership traits that you found essential as a technology and higher education leader? And are these skills that you wish you would have learned earlier in your career?
Yeah, I've been fortunate to have really good mentors throughout my career, mm-hmm. and I think that's something that I feel I'm playing more and more a role of now. And I think when I go out and talk to folks about key skills, the first thing I talk about is relationships and the ability to build relationships. And you don't build relationships in times of crisis. Yeah. You build them beforehand. And that's a lot of coffees, that's a lot of drinks after work, that's a lot of lunches, breakfast, dinners, everything in between. And earning people's trust that you're acting with their best intent. So I think that's one, the ability to build and establish relationships. The other, I think, is the ability to look at a problem and bring a creative solution. So I joke with my team a lot that if you bring me stuff on Friday afternoon, maybe I don't need you that much, right? It's a jest, it's joking, right? But there's some truth to it too. If you're on my team, I expect that you're solving these problems, and the only time you're bringing me things is when you need my help to work through solutions, right? And so I see that a lot in young employees where they can't take an idea to a formulation of a solution, and we do a lot of work with folks to focus them in on bringing solutions forward, because I think that's what the modern workforce is going to need.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time and your thought leadership today. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to following the OSU Buckeyes as they go forward this season. Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We appreciate your time, and for more information, please visit comspark.tech.